Well, let's bring in Dr. Lawrence Balter on that point. Doctor, I think many of us in our news meeting were talking, so how does a 10-year-old even come up with this plan? I believe that there was reports that there was a footprint on the toilet seat, so we would step up and actually have the shirt onto the hook there, so this would happen. Where does a 10-year-old even get that, Doctor?
Well, the question still remains open whether it was
right.
A suicide or not. And certainly children are exposed to all kinds of things, viewing things in the media. But rather than my being a detective, which I'm not, and can't determine that sort of thing, I would say that young children have a limited grasp of the finality of death. Mm-hmm. And although they might think about it, and sometimes kids talk to you with figures of speech. They get very frustrated, and they might say, "Oh, I'll kill myself if I don't get a home run this time," or right. words to that effect. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually threatening suicide.
Dr. Lawrence Balter, again, we just showed the number. If we could show it again, 2005 number, 36 kids between the ages of 9 and 11 committed suicide. That startles a lot of us. This is your field. I mean, is that number huge? Are we going to see more of this? What's your take on that? Well,
it's a very small number, when we consider the percentages of how many children there are and how many children commit suicide. Also, it certainly is alarming if any kid commits suicide. But one of the things we need to keep in mind with young children is it's hard to determine whether it's a suicide or an accident. Children are impulsive, and as I said before, that children don't necessarily have a good grasp of the finality of death, and they might wish themselves out of a bad situation by saying, if I were dead, this wouldn't be happening to me. If I were dead, you wouldn't be treating me this way. You'd feel bad if you realize that's what it would come to. So there are elements we need to consider when we think about the numbers, but the numbers are relatively small. I don't see them climbing. They climb as you get into the teen years, but not in the age bracket we're talking about, the 10-year-old bracket.